All right, my friends, here to talk about the real estate market. Obviously, we're in an interesting situation. We are coming up on the end of the official winter. I like to think we're at the end or we've passed the end of winter. March is sort of the unofficial start to spring. We had a few years since probably 2015 that the spring market seemed to start in January. However, listings are always delayed. They're a little bit more delayed this year. So what do I expect in the weeks and months to come? When can realtors expect to see some relief, to see some, additional properties on the market, additional properties that they can sell to their buyers? It's coming. It's happening. Okay. There's no denying that the market is in a tough spot. We've been through odd places in the market. Okay. We've seen, take the early 90s, for example. There was a complete lack of buyers. There just wasn't enough buyers. There was a lot of sellers. People were happy to simply get a showing on a listing. Then the late 90s came, early 2000, things got a little bumpy with September 11th. They dropped interest rates. Things took right back off. 03 and 04, inventory was extremely low, especially really 02 and 03, extremely low. And then it started to pick up more again. And we had a busy few years. And then 08 came and everybody said, this is the end of real estate. We're all in trouble. It's amazing how quickly people are to say housing is going to fall out. Then the market came back like crazy. Things dramatically improved. We've seen really nothing but growth in the real estate market since 2012. Then bang, last year at this time, this week, things shut down. And when things shut down, lots of people said the market would crash. I didn't. I knew it wouldn't crash because it's simply about supply and demand. You can't have home prices fall out and fall down when you're in a situation where there's less homes to sell. So what I want to do is first reassure everyone that the market is going to come out of this. It's not going to stay like this. We are actually already starting to come out of it. I'm seeing a lift in homes listed per week, and I'm going to show you that. I have another monitor there that I'm going to share and I'm going to show to you. That's why I'm certain it'll happen. It happens every year. We came out of the gate last year in 2020 very busy. Then all of a sudden in March, things fell off and it slowed down. And then when we got to May and June, it took back off again. So it frankly somewhat amazes me that even some experienced agents that I know in the business are like, maybe this is it. This is it. The housing market is just, there's going to be nothing to sell. No, my friends, we are fortunate to be in a business that is always going on regardless of economy. There's always people buying. There's always people selling. There's always things going on. We're just in a slower period. We're in this period where less people are listing and dramatically more are buying. So the percentage of homes that are selling in a given week, say, is at a rate that we've never seen. So what I want to do is first show you some data so that you can understand what's going on. Some of you may have seen this in my real estate updates. I'm also going to go through this quicker because I'm talking to realtors, and you all, I assume, will understand it at a higher level than when I'm showing it to consumers on my own company's page. So take a look at this data right here. I'm going to go to full screen so that you can see it. We'll spend just a couple of minutes on this. Look at last year was in orange. Homes listed per week. We got to the middle of March, which is really like right now. And then it fell off. The amount of homes listed per week went down. Now, this is Massachusetts specific, but if I was to pull up the exact graph for New Hampshire, for Florida, for California, it's identical. It's the same thing. So I just use this one because this is what we have. Now, look at this year in turquoise. You can see it right here. The amount of homes listed, there was a period of time there in February, we had more listed than the February before, or I should say mid-January. And then we got the snow and it slowed things down a lot. It had a real impact. Now we're in March, we're catching up. You are going to see this homes listed per week climb. It's going to get up here, okay? And for several weeks, it's going to be far ahead of where it was last year. So when I hear people say, oh my God, I'm ready to throw my hands up, when I hear realtors say that, I'm like, I don't understand. You didn't throw your hands up last April and May when there was, very few homes being listed. Look at this. Why would you now? We're going to surpass that this year. We're going to be right in here somewhere all the way across. And you're going to see a lot more sales. Now, in the first few weeks of a lot more homes getting listed, It's going to be a little bit harder to see. And the reason is the amount of homes that go under contract are going to get eaten up quickly. Okay, look at this. Again, 2021 is in turquoise. Last week, almost 30% of the homes that are listed for sale went under contract. That is completely unprecedented. It's unbelievable. And again, if I was to, this is mass, but it's the same. If I was to pull New York, California, Florida, it would be similar numbers, 25%, 30%, 40%, right in there. The amount of homes that are coming on the market versus the amount that are selling is equal or more. It's really fascinating. Actually, let's take a look at that. Why don't we? Last week, we had roughly, as an example, call it 1,750 homes be listed. Let's look at pending statistic, or actually we could go down here. Hang on. I'm going to do it a different way. Look at March, month to date. 2,000 homes listed, 1,770 under contract. But look at last month in February. 5,800 listed, 6,200 under contract. So in February, more went under contract than were listed. Makes perfect sense. Same exact thing happened in January, and that's why the inventory of homes for sale in March, first day of March, was lower than the first day of January for the first time since really 2015 when we had all that snow. Now you could argue that 19 was close, but not quite. If you look here, the amount of homes for sale was slightly less than January. That happened that year that we got all that snow. And I will tell you, that year here in Massachusetts, when we got all that snow, it was quite frustrating for people. A lot of people felt as if, oh my God, is the year ever going to take off? People had more confidence. The thing that's decreasing the confidence now is then there were more homes for sale. Then we weren't dealing with a pandemic. And then we weren't dealing with the amount of sellers that we're dealing with now that are downright scared. They are literally fearful of where they're going to go. How am I going to find a home? So when I show you that data, the reason I always go back to data is I'm doing it to show you so that you can show your clients. I think a lot of realtors, I know a lot of realtors make the mistake of not utilizing the data that is at their fingertips. Okay, MLS PIN here in Massachusetts has extraordinary data. I will also give a shout out to Beaches MLS down in South Florida and the Miami MLS. Their data is extraordinary. The reporting ability, you can go in, you can hover over a county or a town, click reports, and bang, it gives you how many homes are listed, how many are for sale. It's incredible data. And the reporting that they do for their realtors down there every month is even better than here. But for some reason, there's a lack of realtors that use them. As I always say in trainings, you have to show a consumer what's going on, not just tell them. People don't believe what they hear. As you work with a client longer and longer, maybe you sell them a few homes, that's different. You've built up rapport, you've gotten to know them. But at the beginning of a relationship, they're looking at you with one eye like, I don't necessarily buy everything you're telling me, right? So it's important that you use the data. Go right on our site. Lindsay already put it up. It's Lindsay, massrealestateupdates.com, marealestateupdates.com. Take it, rip it off. Go into MLS, go to On Market Snapshot, and show your clients. Now, what are some of the things that you could do to help your business right now? Well, I just gave you one. I'm actually going to write on the board. I wasn't planning to, but I'm going to. I'm going to put here, number one, use data. Okay? That's critically important. Number two, you can be going after more sellers and getting more sellers to list. And that doesn't mean you should neglect buyers. I've heard a lot of realtors say, well, I don't need more buyers. No, you do, actually. You need more buyers. Because here's the deal, guys. A year and a half ago, you needed 10 buyers to make 5 deals. A year and a month ago. Now you need 10 buyers to get 2 deals. So you do need more buyers. But let me just continue on this path with sellers. I'm going to write here, get sellers. Very simple. That's how our real training is. We're right to the point, right? You've got to go after sellers. Now, how do you go after more sellers? Well, I see some names on here of realtors watching. Some of them that are very well-known realtors in different markets here in Mass and across, some in New England, some in Florida. Many of you have massive books of past clients. Have you called those past clients? Pick the phone up and call your past clients. Check in with them. See how they are doing. Your buyers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago are your sellers now. Now, some people hear that, some realtors hear that and say, well, I've talked to a few, they're scared to list. I understand. Talk to more and educate more, because the more you use the data and you educate, which I've talked about on Crush It, the more you talk to them, let me fix that E, and you educate, right? The more are going to listen to you. Because here's the deal, my friends. Here's the truth. And I know some sellers will see this, right? I don't mind. When sellers tell you, I'm not ready, about half of them actually are telling the truth or actually mean that. Isn't it always amazing how fast a seller suddenly becomes ready to sell when they find the home that they want? Christine just mentioned, show them the equity that they have. 100% right, Christine. And that's why you sold, I believe, 80-something homes in Albany, New York last year. Single agent selling 80-something homes, right? She's an action taker. So let's stay on that for a minute. Christine points out, show them the equity they have. You could do that by how? Sending comps, right? So I said call, right? We'll add to this. You could send comps. And when I say send comps, some realtors overanalyze. What I mean by that is find some recent solds in their neighborhood. Hey, FYI, check these out. This one sold for $780. This one sold for $760. This one sold for $800. Look at that. Now in Christine's market, that would be luxury, right? But send them just random. Nothing fancy. If every realtor, I said this at a training a week ago, if every realtor locked themselves in their office and they picked a day and they all called hundreds of past clients, I'll forget hundreds, dozens of past clients in a day and sent dozens of past clients comps in their neighborhood, how are you? Hey, do you realize you bought this thing for $300? It's now worth $400 already. You bought it a year and a half ago. You do that to dozens of people, you'll have more listings in 3 weeks. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. And you'll have a pipeline of many more. The problem is what most realtors do is they just wait for people to come to them. Let me go back to what I was saying. Sellers' knee-jerk reaction is, we're not ready. We're not ready, right? They're pushing you away. They view you as a salesperson. So you have to talk to them about that and say, okay, so let's play this out. Let's say that you find the home you want tomorrow, that you want to buy. What's going to happen is you're going to call me frantic. Usually it happens on a Saturday night at 5 o'clock. You're going to call me frantic and you're going to say that you found the home you want and you want to make an offer. And we're going to have to scurry for a pre-approval. We're going to have to, figure everything out, how much deposit, when's the closing dates, and we're going to make an offer. You're not going to get the property. Well, why not? Why won't I get the property? Well, because you have your home to sell. And at this point, we've done nothing to get your home ready to sell. What sellers need to be doing and what you realtors need to be guiding them to do is get their home. There's really two paths, right? When you're dealing with an SB, a sell-by client, right? The path is either list or get ready to list. And what I mean by that is you've got to get your seller either on the market and you talk to them about putting protections in the contract to the effect of sales subject to seller finding suitable housing so that you protect them. You've got to make them feel that you're going to keep them protected so they don't end up homeless. So that's one route, right, this way. Or you get the home completely ready to list. And when I say ready to list, it's not like, all right, sign my listing agreement. No. It's listing agreement signed, Mr. Seller. It's speak to a mortgage broker and know exactly what you will be able to afford. If your home sells for, we agree it's going to sell for $550. Okay, let's find out if it sells for $6, how much can you afford then? If it sells for $5, how much can you afford then? Know all the scenarios, have the deposits, have everything ironed out and prepared. So it's not about just getting ready to list. It's about getting ready in every other way. Ready to list, ready with money, get your pictures done on your listing, get the MLS sheet completely done. So that when you go and make an offer on another home and they've got 10 offers, 15, 20 offers, The likelihood of getting accepted when there's so much cash offers out there, so many cash offers out there, is low anyway. But what you need to explain to this seller that's also a buyer is, listen, to raise your chances, we have to get your house completely ready. Listing agreement signed, pictures done. You have to already speak to a mortgage broker, have pre-approval in hand, have your bank account sorted out. If you're getting money from retirement, pull it out now and be ready, right? Do you follow what I'm saying? It's about getting the seller completely ready in every way. Then what you do is you go to make an offer on a property when they make that call to you that they found something they like, or hopefully you found them something for them, perhaps off market, and then they're ready. And you explain this to the seller. So, Mr. Seller, right now, when you tell me you're not ready, that means you're going to do no preparation and you're going to wait around until you see the home that you want. Going back to the example now. And then you're going to call me frantic, likely on a Saturday night at 5, telling me you want to make an offer. We're going to scurry around. We're going to make an offer, and you're not going to get it. Now, I'm not guaranteeing you that if you get completely ready, we're going to be able to get the offer accepted, but I can tell you we can raise those chances. So the right way to do this, let me come see the home. Let's talk about what it's worth. And if you choose to work with me, then we will get you completely ready to list and ready to buy. It's really two things, right? I should have added to that. Should have been ready to list and ready to buy, right? Because it's ready to buy, ready to list. Two different things. And it's critically important that you get those sellers to understand that. So when a seller tells you I'm not ready, don't be so quick to believe them or to listen to them, because they're saying that because they can't imagine where they'll live. They are not us. They are not realtors. They're not studying the market every day, seeing what's coming on. They don't realize that if they only follow Zillow, they're going to miss out on properties. They don't see it that way. And you have to explain it to them. Lindsay, let's share the link, the wannabe seller videos that I've done. It might be wantobeseller.com, right? That web address. Let's share that so they can see the videos where I explain these things to sellers in an effort to get them more comfortable. Critically important that you do that because the sellers are scared right now. Now, what you need to do is get the seller to take some forward steps and don't be so quick to accept when they tell you they're not ready, right? Sorry. That was like an ADD moment, but a plane just flew by very low. So that's important that you do that. Then once you get a little further down the line, and oftentimes you meet with the seller and then there becomes a crossroads moment. Are you going here or are you going here? And you help them decide, right? Regardless of where you go, you've got to try to keep your sellers in check. That's another thing. There are too many sellers that are getting way too cocky and, in a sense, being mean to buyers. And there's honestly too many, sorry, Jen, there was literally a plane right there. There's honestly too many listing agents that are doing that as well. And I have to say, even though many of them are my friends, it's often the more experienced listing agents. And they're telling people, hey, we know there's going to be 300 buyers interested in this property, but we want everyone to come in and see it on Sunday from 1 to 2:30. That's your window, 15-minute increments. It's like, hold on a second. There's 150 people that want to see the property. You're going to let 20 people in, 10 people in? Well, I understand that you're probably not going to get all 150 in. And buyers need to accept that. And realtors need to have those conversations with buyers to say, hey, guys, right now, because inventory is so low, remember I showed you the data, Mr. Buyer, we've got a few more weeks of honestly just having trouble getting into properties. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't look because the right one could come up. And in addition to that, it's hard to get an offer accepted, right? This is a hard time. But we're going to do everything we can to raise your chances by getting you completely ready, right? So you explain that to them, and then you tell the sellers once you get, let's say you get to the point of deciding to list. You tell the seller, hey, listen, we're not going to just force everybody to come in an hour and a half. It's going to be a traffic jam. People are going to be mad. We're going to annoy all the realtors in the market. Realtors need to be cognizant of that. I did a video a few weeks ago. I was walking out of the back of the building and our photographer filmed me. And I said, stop being so cocky. Be nice. Help people get into your listing. And I mean, the overwhelming majority, of at least what I heard, was people completely agreeing with me, realtors completely agreeing. There were a few realtors who were like, wow, tough. That's capitalism. If they can't get in, they can't get in. And, if you have 40 offers or 41, what's the difference? Well, I hear some of those arguments, but I have news for you realtors to take that attitude. Remember that when you go make an offer on their listing, right? Think about that. So if you're listing a home and you're being very restrictive and very unhelpful to other realtors and not doing all you can to make every effort to get everyone in, well, they're going to remember that when you have an offer on their listing. When this crisis started a year ago, I stood right here and I said to all of you, us realtors need to be working together. We have to work together. That's how we'll get through this. And in training last week, I told the story about how in the summer of 2008, it was really August and September, there was banks going bankrupt every day. There was actually like a website that tracked banks that were going under. We had several buyers who were past their mortgage contingency dates. And unfortunately, banks went under. We saw it on all sides. We actually had more listings in those days, but we had listings and buyers were falling through. Well, the first few weeks that this happened, and it was really late July 08, there were sellers. I want the deposit. There were realtors. You owe my seller the deposit. By the time we got to mid-August or September, there were realtors saying, okay, I understand. I'll talk to my seller. I know this is going on. We'll try to get another month for you. I did it too. I'd call sellers. Hey, here's the deal. Their IndyMac just went bankrupt. You probably saw it on the news. If you remember right, their loan's approved with IndyMac. They're past their mortgage contingency. I know it's frustrating. Yup, I know. But here's the deal. We could take their deposit and then we're going to be back in the market. We don't know that we're going to get this price. They're asking for a month. That's all they're asking for. They're asking for a month. Let's give them a month. Let them find a new company, get the loan, and sell it to them. And all of a sudden, across the market, there was more of that. I'm telling you, it was an impressive thing to see. Now, the one thing that made it easier was every day there were companies going under. Everybody started feeling bad for everybody. People were losing their jobs. But that's the kind of attitude us realtors need to have. We need to be leaders in this situation. It isn't the attorneys that are going to do this. They're not on the front end. We are the tip of the spear, my friends. We are, like it or not, realtors are the tip of the spear. We are the ones that control most of the things that happen in the transaction. We need to have those conversations with buyers to set expectations. We need to have conversations with sellers to set expectations. And you have to tell buyers, look, you might offer, Sue's a great realtor out in Central Mass, Sue Chesborough. She just said they offered $85,000 over asking, right? And I'm guessing this somewhere says they didn't get it. They didn't get it. So frustrating, no doubt. But you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I hear it's frustrating, but there's more properties coming. This is not going to stay like this. I could show you 30 years of data. I just showed you 4, but I could show you 30 that every year more homes list. Now, what we're going to deal with for the next few weeks across the nation is a lot more homes getting listed, but it not feeling like it. Like realtors are going to be like, what do you mean? There's still, I checked the on-market snapshot of my town. There's still 3 homes for sale. There were 3 homes for sale in February. I understand. And that's because they're going to get eaten up almost as fast as they get listed, like Pac-Man. It's the Pac-Man effect, I call it, right? But explain that to your buyers. Help them understand that. And explain it to your sellers, because you should be pushing your sellers to list as soon as possible. Here's a fact. Show sellers this video. I don't care. The sellers that list now will sell for more money than the sellers that list in 6 or 8 weeks. Now, how much money? I don't know. There's no way to quantify or put a number on it, but they will sell for more guaranteed. Why? Because right now, folks, there's this many buyers and there's this many sellers. If we had a bar graph, this is what it looks like. Here's the deal though, right? If I wrote here, I'll just put a B and an S. As the season goes on, the amount of sellers goes up, the amount of buyers comes down. Now, frankly, I don't see these intersecting this year. We're not going to end up with more sellers. Let me fix that S. We're not going to end up with more sellers than buyers this year. It's the chance when that happens, it'll probably be 22 or 23. I've been quoted as saying that I believe inventory will get back to pre-pandemic levels, which remember was also low, probably in August or September or October of 2022. I still feel that way. I'll be honest, there's a part of me that's like, it might be 23, but I think it'll be 22. But my point is this, as the year goes on, the amount of buyers decreases. Now, some people say, what do you mean? Think about it. Every day that goes by, more buyers find more homes. Yes, there's some new buyers coming into the market, but it's not as many as it is in the winter and early spring. We had a hangover of buyers that didn't find homes. Worse than ever coming into this year. There's always a certain amount of buyers that don't find homes in a year, and then the next year they buy a home. This year, that hangover of buyers was ×3, but there's also a hangover of sellers. A lot of sellers didn't list last year. We just looked at the data. They didn't list because they were concerned about the pandemic. Here's another thing that I want to mention. A lot of the sellers that didn't list tended to be the sellers that were probably 60 plus years old. They were more concerned about the virus, and as they should be, 70 plus, 80, whatever. I don't want to get into ages, but you get my point, right? Now, what sellers are those? I talked about this in a training last. Sellers that are selling homes that have been in those homes 30, 40 years, they're selling homes that are this big. Sellers that are selling homes that they bought 3 and 4 years ago tend to be younger. And how big do those homes tend to be? Those tend to be first-time buyer homes, right? First-time buyer homes. Move-up homes, the bigger one, the second purchase, tends to be bought from those who've owned homes 30 to 40 years. That, my friends, is why we have a logjam in the market. Because there's not enough of these sellers listing. It's getting better, but it's not getting better fast enough to satisfy the demand. But this is why. You're going to see more of these get listed, especially when you get past May. By the time we get to mid-May, I mean, now they're saying the vaccine, everyone that wants one is going to have one by the end of May. It's going to provide tremendous relief. So what you've got to do is explain this stuff to your buyers and show them the data. I'm pointing to the other screen because they're not going to just believe what you explain. So you have to have these conversations with them. In addition, there's other things you can do. So I said, what can you do to improve things, right? Use data, educate, get sellers, call past clients, send comps. Christine mentioned show equity. I'm going to write here, show equity, right? Here's another one. I do think you need to start talking to sellers about the possibility of finding temporary housing. Now, there's some of you that are like, whoa, they don't want to do that. I know, but there are starting to be more sellers that are willing. Here's why. They want to capitalize on right now and get every penny they can. Get them into 6-month housing. Try to not to have them go into 1-year housing. Very important. Why do I say that? Because in 1 year, we're not going to be in the same space. It's going to be better than where we are now. Inventory will definitely be higher a year from now. No question. But it's still going to be similar. There's going to be a lot less sellers and more buyers. Again, it'll be better than now, but if they do a 12-month lease, they're going to end up in the same spot. So it's critical that if they do some sort of temporary housing, push them to do it about 6 months. I'll put a 6 here so you all know what I'm talking about. You don't want them to be in the same spot. I mean, there's no doubt that if they sell now and they buy in the fall, when they buy in the fall, remember that graph that I did? My friends, in the fall, I guarantee you something here. Okay, I would bet my company there'll be more homes for sale on October 1st than there are right now. There's no question. So if you have to consider temporary housing, do that. It's okay to start having those conversations with sellers. Frankly, I think all us realtors need to. I did a training last week and I didn't spend much time on that and I kind of regretted it. So I wanted to mention here. Now, the other thing that you need to do when you are a buyer's agent to raise your chances. When you submit an offer package, you've got to send the listing agent what they want, what they ask for. Listing agents don't want to get, well, imagine being a listing agent, getting 30 or 40 offers right now, 50 offers. And imagine 3/4 of those agents don't send you a nice, tidy email with a nice, tidy PDF package with everything in one attachment. So if you have 40 offers and 30 of the agents send you 3 different emails, well, that's 90 emails for 30 of them, and then another 10 for the rest, 100 emails. You need to be the listing agent's favorite. Get your pre-approval ironed out. Remember what I said? Get them totally ready. Ready to buy, ready to list, ready to buy. That's the key. Talk to them openly about that. When you submit an offer package, nice, tidy offer package, offer form, and for those of you in states that go straight to purchase and sale, like Florida, like New Hampshire, purchase and sale agreement, pre-approval, contingency page, lead paint form, one package, then a nice email that describes what's in the package, right? You also need to talk to your buyer when we talk about expectations and make sure they are flexible with closing date. I always say in our trainings that there's two things that home sellers want. Number one, money. Number two, they're concerned about timing. I have news for you all. Timing, this is the first time I've ever seen, is starting to be like a really close second. There are sellers that will give up money, literally give up money, just to time things right. We're seeing more sellers say, I don't care. You know, we have Lamacchia links. Sorry, I shouldn't be doing that. I'm on a Crush It platform. But we have a system that matches up buyers and sellers. So we're always careful when we talk to sellers about like, hey, we're happy to list your home on the open market. And by the way, all of you should do this. All of you should do this. Forgot what platform I was on, Lindsay. You should talk to your sellers about, hey, listen, if you go on the open market, you're likely to sell for more. Well, I mean, in the last couple of years, we're starting to see more people say, you know what, even if I got to give up 10 grand, but I can time it right and move when I want to, it's fine. Well, in the last year, that's increased. So timing is critically important. That means when you have that buyer, nice, tidy offer package, get everything right, make sure it looks really good, and make sure they're flexible on closing date if they can be. That's critical. So I'm just going to say offer. I'm just going to say make a perfect offer. Like when you're making an offer, it can't be this just throwing it in. It's got to be well thought out. And that's why you've got to get more people completely ready. Critically important. Paul just mentioned, call the listing agent, try to build rapport. Now we have heard some listing agents saying that too many darn people are calling them. It's getting overwhelming, but it will improve. Now, last part of the segment, probably 10 more minutes. These are the things you can do to raise your chances of having a huge year. I'm going to say it again 2 years in a row. Forget vacation. I did a video on Monday and I said, if you want to go on vacation, go right now. And I mean that. Go to South Florida. Go to Aruba. Go wherever you want. I know a lot of people that have. But let me tell you, this will be a crazy summer. I actually think this will be busier than last summer. I'm certain of that. Why am I certain? Because everything is so pent up and there's many more sellers who are going to list now, many more buyers that are buying now. Last year, it was very busy, but there wasn't enough inventory like right now. But that's going to improve. So what you're going to see this summer is an even busier summer than last summer. What you're going to see once the engine gets going, the real estate market engine, once that ship, you know, it's like a big old ship. And right now, that big old ship is turning, right, to head out of the channel. Well, once it gets in the right direction and goes out of the channel, it's going to fly out into the open water. That is going to happen. That's going to happen. Now, I know it's busy right now. Lisa's saying, I can't even get a day off right now. I hear you. But believe me, you get past May, we are talking about a circus till Thanksgiving. I'm telling you. It will be the busiest summer ever. I said that a year ago. I said that last April. I'm telling you now it's going to beat last year. There's going to be more activity, more listings, more buyers, more than ever. There's no question. It's numerically impossible for it not to be. It's not like I'm some genius. Look at the numbers. There's 90-something thousand, 89,000 homes a year that sell in Massachusetts, as an example. So I predicted in my 2021 predictions that there would be over 100,000 that would sell this year. I am holding to that prediction. Every other market, you're going to see more sales than last year. I am certain. Even with interest rates going up. When they went up 2 weeks ago, I said to myself, good, it'll back off the demand a little bit, right? That's not a bad thing. So you have to get completely ready and get your, when I say ready, we had a company meeting yesterday, company updates. And I said to a bunch of our agents, I said, guys, we have, this support, that, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into it. But I said, get it ready now. If you're thinking of hiring an administrative assistant, hire them now. You're thinking of taking advantage of some type of services or photography to get it off your plate, get ready now. Don't wait till you're swamped because then it's too hard to implement. So I hope that helped you all. Tomorrow, stay with me at 11 a.m. Miss Lindsay Favazza. Lindsay, show your face. Say hello. Come on, jump in. I know you weren't expecting that. Lindsay will be a segment on Clubhouse, on social media. Lindsay, tell them what you're going to cover tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Tomorrow, we're doing these Clubhouse events every single week, Friday at 11. So if you miss tomorrow, that's okay. Just tune in every Friday at 11. But on Clubhouse, if you guys are on Clubhouse already, you can search for Lindsay Favazza and you can join that group tomorrow. And then if you're not on Clubhouse, I would say shoot a message to us on the Crush It page with your phone number and we will get you an invite. There's a bunch of people within our company that have invites. I have like 6 invites on my phone right now that I can give out. So but tomorrow we are going to be going over all things social media video. We're actually going to have our in-house photographer, videographer with me, and we're going to go over all kinds of different stuff about video.
He just walked in.
He did.
Brandon literally just walked in. Brandon, say hi.
What good timing you have, my friend.
But we're talking about, I'm at the end of my segment about the market, and we're talking about how you and her tomorrow are going to do social media, photography, tie it all together.
Yeah. Clubhouse.
That's at 11 on Clubhouse. Yep. Clubhouse, for those of you that don't know, is audio only. It is invite only. Pam Adamite, Pam, I love you. I miss you and Rick.
It's also iPhone only. So those Android lovers out there, sorry.
So Pam reached out to me in January and said, Anthony, you've got to get on this. I'm telling you, we're old friends. She used to be here at the company before her and Rick moved. She said, I'm telling you, you got to get on there. Anthony, I'm telling you. Well, we're on. Lindsay's on. We're going to be doing more there.
I just posted the link for the event tomorrow. So if you guys can, just if you are on Clubhouse, click that and you can hit join and add to your calendar so you won't forget.
Awesome. All right. I have like 4 or 5 minutes left. I can take some questions. Hey, Jack, we love your support, buddy. And by the way, I started following you on Instagram. Great pictures in Marblehead. Jack Attridge, one of the top realtors on the North Shore. So any questions whatsoever, I'll hang around 60 seconds to see if any pop up. I've got like 5 minutes, and then I have to get to a lunch appointment. A lot of people saying they have invites. This is great. This is great. Hopefully this all makes sense to you guys. You've got to think. You need to do things on purpose. You need to be an expert. You need to get control of your sellers. Set the right expectations. That is how you'll have more sales. And get ready. Okay, is there any data number on cash transactions versus financing? There is, Ben. In our MLS here in Massachusetts, there is a way to search that. I could show you. We could actually do a training on that, Lindsay. I will tell you it's not exactly accurate because realtors don't always fill it in when they close the property. But that's how it goes. Susan, yes, when you say is it recorded, we're live on Crush It in Real Estate, and we are leaving it here. Look at Jeff. Jeff doesn't care. Post his phone number right there. This is awesome. What do you do when buyers show up before open house and it's owner occupied? You know, Sam, these types of things happen. I mean, this is, you know, people are frustrated. What can you do? Warn your sellers that there's more buyers out there than ever, and buyers might just misbehave, and ask realtors not to do that. All right, my friends, that's a wrap. Thank you all. Appreciate you all. Let us know if you have more questions. Post your questions.